Hey guys, welcome back to Shadow Moon. Recently me and John were in Felfrost for their spring coronation and masquerade ball. We figured that we would share the highlights of the event with you guys, including tourney winners, court awards, titles, along with updates from our Corpora Committee representatives and from the Imperial region and more. And here's one of the crats of the event, Lord Varen, to speak about it in his own words.
This is our spring 2017 coronation, which is very exciting. We managed to get this fantastic hall. We've got people yelling and laughing and fighting. It's quite nice. This is really my favorite thing. I mean, when it comes to Amtgard, a lot of the components of it are amazing. I mean, it provides a lot to have this shared world, as it were. But I like court, because at court you get to see people who've been working very hard for a long time, and then, you know, someone says, hey, they did this amazing thing, they've been working at it, and everybody cheers. We all cheer together and celebrate that person's efforts and the results of those efforts sometimes. When you're really deep into a project and you're sort of shunning the world and really trying to do your best, maybe you're planning an event and a minor thing goes awry, but at that time it seems to be everything. But then later on, your fellows you know, may celebrate how hard it was to get that whole thing together in the first place. You know, who cares if one thing went wrong, one minor thing? One minor thing will always go wrong. But to celebrate real effort, I think is special, and that's what we're here to do. I started Felfrost that 1.5 ages ago. I mean, not even 1.5 years ago. But I get a lot out of these. So to see it going nicely like this, really amazing. Our brilliant Duchess had the initial idea to do a masquerade ball, and I think that that's going to be very exciting. We're going to be showing people how to waltz in this room, you know, and I've done a weird amount of dance for someone whose main interest was martial arts, but yeah, so I'm really excited. And then we've got a Bone Ace tournament, which will happen here, Bone Ace being the medieval ancestor of blackjack, and I like that roguish element to it. So you've got court, you've got a masquerade ball, you've got dancing, and you've got this, like, you know, nice medieval lethal card game, you know, and then you've got the field, everyone running and fighting, and there's people crafting in the next room right now. It's really great. It's a great atmosphere. So, like I say, I always look forward to these, and I'm really excited for, you know, all the ones to come and the rest of today. So, thanks, Amtgard, Felfrost, the Principality of the Nine Blades, you know, Golden Bay, and all. It's a lot of fun.
While we were there, we were able to sit down with the incoming Duke of Felfrost, Lord Trial. Here are his comments about his upcoming reign.
So you just got elected Duke of Felfrost. Do you have anything you plan on doing?
Yep. Currently I'm working on a suggestions box. I hear good things about how it's working right now. And basically this one's to facilitate communication on awards. If you see someone doing something cool on field, you grab one of the slips of paper, check off what they did, write your name, write their name, and push it in the box. This way, if someone did something awesome, you'll have like 2 or 3 cards with, say, Timmy the Scavenger on it. And then we can talk to one of those people and be like, okay, so what did Timmy do? By suggesting they did something awesome in this category, so it's a commendation rather than an award recommendation, we can get away from the stigma of just recommending people for what we think the next award would be. In addition to that, I'm planning on running a Coliseum as our final battle game of the day, where we'll be playing games like Jogging or Phoenix Ball, and I'm hoping to start up in it, or Goblin Rush, which is going to be fighting progressively more goblins to help your parties wiped. The idea of this is to give small team-based games while the park is dwindling in numbers as people have to go and do their jobs, and provide an opportunity for people to RP and something for them to watch and do while we're all playing. Coming in with me is Katina as our champion, and Ryan's continuing as our chancellor, and Cork, one of our barbarians, is our GMR, and Lisa is running as our regent.
Okay.
Felfrost meets every Sunday at 1 p.m. at Hogsback Park, and currently it's meeting every Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Brewer Park next to the pool.
We also had a chance to speak to Countess Sir Diana Starfall about the Corpora Committee.
Hey guys, Diana here, and I am the Corpora Committee representative for Whitestone Valley, and just wanted to take a couple of seconds to let you guys know where the project is and where we're headed next. So far the team has sat and discussed the Parks and People section of the Corpora. So we talked through a lot of ideas, things that we could keep and should keep, things that we want to take out or audit or work around. So what we did was we came up with a list of talking points, and we've been taking that to the parks to let people know. In the credit section, there's been a request to consider a spread out system instead of 6 credits over the course of 6 months, maybe do 3 and 3, or some people want us to do 4 and 4 or 5 and 5. So if you have a feeling on attendance as far as it pertains to voting and running for office, speak to your local rep about that bullet. As far as parks go, we talked a little bit about the attendance credit needed to adjust to a new park level, and kind of readjusting to reference some of what is already in the rule book. So the numbers in the rule book are actually lower than what we have in our current Corpora, but in our current Corpora we're counting traveler's credits. So one of the things we're looking at is going back to the rulebook numbers, which are lower, so it's 5 to 15 members for Shire, and then up to, I believe it's 30 members for Barony, and then 35 plus or so for Duchy. It is in the write-up, so if you grab that from your rep, that'd be great. But basically the idea behind it is that we wouldn't count traveler credits towards these numbers, because when we talk about advancing a park from Shire to Barony or Barony to Duchy, we're looking to do that based on your local average numbers, the kinds of players you're seeing on a week in and week out basis. The amount of responsibility, some of the restrictions or benefits of like how many CQs you complete, or how many appointed positions you might need to use, has a real direct correlation with how many people you're working with regularly, and traveler credits tend to inflate that. So one of the hopes is to lower the number, but then remove the traveler credits from that. So again, a discussion piece, talk to your rep about it. Last major piece that we brought up, credits, and we talked about fighter practices and what that means when the rulebook talks about portrayal or playing character, and whether fighter practices were restrictive for players that want to be garnering other credits on those nights. So we're talking about changing that language a little bit to more refer to it as an alternate field. If fighter practice and teaching is primarily what happens, that's okay. But if there is the opportunity for role player class games to happen, that's a thing that we could be taking credits for. Right now it's kind of covered by the fact that the Monarch can get credits for whatever they want, but at the same time, we'd like to make that language a little more open so that parks have the flexibility to do what makes sense for their players. So there's some really great pieces in the outline. I haven't quite covered them all to the extent, so feel free to talk to your rep. And next session, we're going to be working on the events and organizations. So things like all things, crown quals, how we organize like mid-range and coronations and that kind of stuff. So if you have thoughts on that you'd like us to discuss in our preview month, that's kind of like the month where we talk about all the ideas, let us know, and then once we have some distilled points, we'll bring that to the parks to really get a gauge of where people are standing. So thanks for taking a few minutes to listen to what I have to update you guys on, and be sure to talk with your local rep.
Next up, we're going to hear from Lord Varon again about his Caravaneers Guild initiative.
Cool. So what we're trying to do with the Caravaneers Guild is to effectively shorten the distance between all the parks in the Principality. As we're approaching Kingdom, what we need is to be a united kingdom, and also it helps to have everyone be able to visit all the other parks in terms of attendance as well. But mainly, when looking at any sort of large group, particularly one where everyone's not always in the same place, I've always found that it's easy to perhaps forget that there's a friendliness to everything. So I was thinking about it for a while, because there's always a little bit of drama in every group. But I find that myself personally, if I have any frustrations, the best antidote for that is for me to see that person. And so that's something that I think that the Carabiniers Guild has been directed at, is to bridge those gaps between people. It's easy to have, you know, even a friendly dispute that's going a bit south. And the nicest thing in that case, in my experience, is to actually talk face to face with that person. So what the Carabiniers Guild is a community-led, I don't want to say railroad system, but it's kind of like that, where if there's an event at one location, then we can get everybody there because everybody's working together. What the Carabiniers Guild does specifically is not to provide rides. However, what it does is it finds out who's going where, and everyone goes together. When we're all visiting one place, then we are set up there. We know that we have friends there, and we know that those parks that we're visiting have places for us. Say we're going for an event, we'll know, okay, this park can house this many people. We know before we have to go when we can show up, where we can crash, how we're going to get there, how we're going to get back. And again, it fosters that sense of community, I feel, because it's all of us together being able to spend more time having fun. I feel that the internet sometimes expands that distance between people. Like, it makes everyone almost face to face without having that physical closeness. And so to my mind, the Carabiniers Guild is a good antidote for that separateness. And furthermore, it's a lot of fun. You get to see your friends more. You know, it's more cost effective to be able to go and visit people, because you're carpooling. You know, you're staying with people that you're on good terms with. You're not paying for hotels all the time and things like that. So moving forward, I think that that'll be a good unification of the goals for working towards kingdom, and also the goals for having a healthy, thriving, happy kingdom. So that's the Carabiniers Guild in a nutshell.
If you guys would like to see the full conversation with Lord Varon about the Carabiniers Guild initiative and the event that was run, there will be a link to it in the description below. We also did try to catch up with the Imperial Regent, Sir Osric Blackwolf. Unfortunately, the Count was too busy chasing Little Jack, but he did send us this. Upcoming tournaments. The Cultural Championship is coming up at Imperial Crown Qualls. The team determining where and when that will be is still working on it, but crafters can expect to see it coming sometime in June. Imperial Dragon Master has already passed, having been held at Whitestone Valley Litchwood Grove Joint Coronation event earlier in April. Bird from Felfrost snagged the title at that event with a solid victory. I don't have many clear updates for the term yet. I've been in contact with park regents and I've heard things are going well. Most parks are running regular ANS nights and seeing a lot of activity because of them. I've been quietly encouraging a couple of resource-based projects working in the background that aren't ready to hit the limelight yet, but I'm excited for when they're ready. I've seen a lot of great things come out of the craftspeople in the Nine Blades. Some of the most creative weapons I've seen on fields across Amtgard have come out of our region. I always love seeing what other kingdoms come to say about our artisans. If I could say something short but to the point, to someone who's embarking down the owl path or any path, it would be this: dream big, build big. Even if you don't get it right the first time, you'll learn something for the future. Then take the big thing and show it off to the world far and wide. Never settle for being the best in your park or region. Aim higher, raise the bar, and never stop reaching. And now on to the outcomes of the tournaments.
Try it though. I'm playing a monk! Stylish. Sorry, I'm still...
The event also included an archery tournament, run by Baroness Modus. The tournament ended with Arlett taking the top spot, followed by a three-way tie for second place. Last but definitely not least, here are the orders that were issued at this event. Trial received his second warrior, first smith, and 5th Owl for leather-backed plate fan braces. Flint received his 7th Owl for Nightingale armor set. Nero received his 1st and 2nd Garber. Crow receives his 1st Dragon. Cragor receives his 2nd Smith and his 5th Owl for a Northern Empire Plastidip shield. Bird received her 2nd and 3rd Dragon and 2nd Smith. Cragor receives the title Master. Varen receives his Lordship title. Bird receives her 4th and 5th Dragon for winning the Imperial Dragon Master. And Trial receives his Paragon Druid. Thanks for taking the time to join us, and hope to see you again soon. Have a great evening.